All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Breakup by Dana Stabenow. This is book number 7 in her Kate Shugak Alaska mystery. I was going to say mystery. I don't think mystery is a word. Mystery series. I've read and reviewed books 1 through 6 in this series. So if you want to watch those reviews, just type in my last name, Stabenow. Type those two things into your YouTube search bar, and those book reviews will magically appear upon your television screen. I swear to God, that's the way it is. So we're up to book number 7 in the series. I've got the entire series over here. We'll pan through my library. I'll show you. I've got the entire series right there. And we will be reading and reviewing all of them over the next few years as we read and review everything in my library. But this is book number 7, Breakup. Came out in 1997. One of the reasons I wanted to read another Dana Stabenow Alaska mystery was because I just got done watching the latest HBO series, True Detective, which took place in Alaska and starred Jodie Foster. So it got me kind of, and I really liked that, and it got me kind of in the mood to read an Alaska story. So, this book, of course, now Kate Shugak is our main character. She's a police officer / retired police officer / detective / person who solves mysteries in Alaska. That's basically her backstory. She's a native Alaskan. That's another part of her backstory. She's had a pretty brutal past. She's had run-ins with other police officers. I mean, each book has a little bit of a love story, some drama, some soap opera, but a really good, great mystery, that has to be solved on top of all of this. This opens up in the spring, during the warmth of the spring, the first fall runoff. They call it the breakup in Alaska. Slush everywhere. The rivers are full and raging. There's new growth, new spring growth. Kate's dog named Mutt can now leave the house and go play and romp around in the hills and do things that dogs do. Of course, this is a husky / wolf, so it's sort of a badass dog, and one of the characters in the book in the series that you follow around. Now, I remember the breakup season in Alaska because if you followed my channel for any length of time, you knew I grew up in Alaska in Fairbanks, and I remember the breakup season. It was just slush as far as the eye could see. And you were just dealing with just grime and grossness and grittiness and everything as this stuff broke up. But then you would also feel kind of like, hey, it's springtime. The winter's over. The long nights are over. The 24 hours a day of darkness is over. Things are looking good. But in this book, the word breakup is used over and over as kind of a theme. In other words, and I don't remember this in Alaska that much. Well, I don't remember this in Alaska, but apparently in this book, and maybe this is an Alaskan thing, but breakup is kind of like a term people use, kind of like when things go wrong. Well, it's breakup season. Well, it's a breakup season. Stuff goes ass over teapot in Alaska when it's the breakup. So the word is used over and over and over in a theme, kind of like the way in the show Seinfeld, they would pick a phrase or a word and just repeat it over and over and over in the show, kind of like no soup for you, or she's a low talker, he's a close talker, she has man hands, love the Drake, these pretzels are making me thirsty. You remember all of those lines? Serenity now, all of those different lines that were repeated over and over in Seinfeld. This word breakup is sort of a theme for the book for a lot of stuff that's going on in the book. And the characters often use this term breakup as just, hey, it's breakup season. What do you expect? Shit goes bad. Right? In fact, we start off with a major breakup where, and one of the things that Dana Stabenow does really well here at the beginning of this is describe the breakup season in a lot of detail. And like I said, I kind of already went over that with, the slush and the full rivers. But opening scene, a jet engine falls in Kate Shugak's front yard and smashes some of her stuff. A jet engine from the sky. You know what I mean? And she's like, oh my God. And so during the investigation of why did this plane break up over her land and things like that, it leads to a few things. And as they're investigating this breakup, of course, there's still some snow on the ground. And as they're going through her property, as the investigators are going through her property, they find a corpse that's been in the snow all winter long. It's been buried under the snow all winter long, and now they found a corpse. So what does this jet engine falling from the sky and this corpse inside of her property have to do with each other? Not only that, but there's a lot of near bear attacks. There's a lot of bear stuff going on. A lot of grizzly bear stuff, brown bear stuff going on in this book, where the bears are just kind of nearly attacking everybody. And there's a bear around her cabin that's a nuisance. And there was one line in this book that I really liked. And somebody mutters it, and the line is, quote, hard to get upset over bears acting like bears, end quote. I actually quite like that. Now, another thing that Kate Shugak runs across in this book is a magazine/book. These things were pretty thick, and I remember them when I grew up in Alaska, and it was called the Milepost book. I remember my dad collected the Milepost books when we lived up there. But they were basically these books that had maps of all different weird places in Alaska. They had advertisements for all different types of stores and restaurants, and it was like a mini encyclopedia of everything Alaska every month that would come to your house. The Milepost. I hadn't thought of those in 30 years until I was like, oh my God, I remember the Milepost books. Anyway, the Kate Shugak character herself, as they were going through these mysteries, is a little bit meaner of a person than she's been in previous books. I was like, gosh, this lady is kind of being a douchebag to everybody. And it really reminded me of the TV show I had just watched, The True Detective with Jodie Foster. The Jodie Foster character is maybe one of the most objectionable law enforcement officer characters I've ever seen on screen. But I think it was done on purpose because, that character just had reasons to be kind of a jerk to everybody. And Kate Shugak in here kind of has reasons to be a jerk to everybody. And then in the afterword, I read in the afterword of this book that Dana Stabenow was aware of the fact that Kate Shugak was a little bit surly in this book, more surly than normal. And she kind of explains, like, this book on its travel, its quest towards publication, there was a lot of editorial delays. There was a lot of editorial changes that were kind of making the author herself a little bit surly. And as she said, that kind of came through in the character that I was writing. But anyway, that's kind of my review of the book. It's a straightforward mystery of the dead corpse found on Kate Shugak's property, the plane that breaks, the big jet airliner that breaks up over her house and rains parts down onto her yard. This is all ties together, and it's a really cool book. I mean, I love the Kate Shugak mysteries. They take me back. Every time I read one, it takes me right back to my childhood in Alaska and reminds me of different things that happened to me up there. And just great. So I give this a solid 9 out of 10 for Breakup, book number 7 in the Kate Shugak Alaska Mystery Series.